Flux is the name of an official watch face made for watchOS, where you have the background color changing according to the seconds of the current minute and the clock font adapting to each time. In this video I'm going to show you how you can use the tools Watch Face Studio gives us to create a watch face for Wear OS that follows some of the concepts of the Flux watch face. Before we start, remember, there are many ways of achieving the same result. The first thing you need to do to create this watch face is to create the font you are going to use. For that, you need to get creative. I'm not going to cover the entire creation of the fonts, as it is not the idea of the video, and I'm not a designer or anything like that. I just play with the tools I have. In short, I used a font called Aldrich as a base. I did some modifications on it to meet the look I want it to have. After that I defined the boundaries. First the watch face canvas boundaries, in this case a circle of 450 by 450 pixels, then I set the area where I can place some complications, like edge complications, for example, this way I know the area the clock font can use. Then I set the boundaries for each font character group. For example, the hour group can use this space here, while the first digit of the minute can use this other space here, and the second digit this space. This is important because the characters need to have the same size in order for us to use it as a bitmap font. Then I manually stretched each character to fit the boundaries I set. Once again, you need to get creative with the font. With the images created, it is time to implement it on the WFS. I also create images exclusively for the full time, like 8 o'clock. But I don't want this image to stay visible all the time, I only want it to be visible at 8 o'clock. For that I can apply a time conditional line, like this. I'll set the precision to minutes, and then I'll set this image component to only be visible between 8 o'clock and 8:01. As the concept of the Flux watch face is to change the font as the time goes by, I can set the hour text 8 to be a static image, as it will not change while the current hour is 8, this way I save some processing. Now this new image needs to be visible only while the current hour is 8, but not when the time is 8 o'clock. For that I can set a time conditional line from 8:01 until 9 o'clock, like this. I'll hide the full 8 here, just so I can have a better look at the canvas while creating this other part. Once it is done, I'll show it back. I'll also set the position of the image. As I already created these images according to the watch face boundaries, like I mentioned before, I already know the exact locations of each component. Now it is time to add the minutes. As each minute character will have a different font, we need to use the digital clock component that gives us each minute character separated, this one. Now I'll create and set a bitmap font using the digits for the first minute digit of the hour, 8. As the minute goes up to 59 seconds, I only need to create the characters from 0 to 5 for the first digit. Once again, I already know the positions and size for each component, as I already defined them while creating the images. Now I just need to repeat the same process of adding a bitmap font to the second digit, this time it goes from 0 to 9. The minute digits are showing all the time, but I want them to be displayed only between 8:01 and 9 o'clock, so I'll add a time conditional line. As both digits need to be visible or hidden at the same time, I can add the condition to the minute group. As all of this is related, I can group them to keep things organized. I'll also lock this group, this way if I accidentally click or try to drag any of the components of this group, nothing happens, they stay in place. One more time, I'll hide this group visibility just to have a better look at the canvas. I'll show it back again once I'm done creating the rest. Now I can repeat the exact same processing with the next hour's images, in this case the images from hour 9. First, I'll set an image for 9 o'clock and set it to be visible only between 9 o'clock and 9:01. Then I'll set the image I'll use while the hour is 9 and set it to be visible between 9:01 and 10 o'clock. I'll position it, add the digital clock components with the minutes separated, then set the bitmap font for each digit, and one more time, place them in the correct position. Like the components from the time 8, I'll group the components from the hour 9. I'll also set all components to be visible again. See, too many things in the canvas, it gets confusing, that's why I hide them at first. I'll group these two components here, as they represent the time. Before creating the logic of the second, I'll add some color palettes here. Great, now I'll set the background color. For that I'll add an ellipse and set it to have the canvas size, that is, 450 by 450 pixels. I'll set it to white so I can tint it using the color palette, and then I'll move it under the time group so it will be displayed behind it as a background. Now I'll add a rectangle. This rectangle will work as a mask for my font. I want the height of this shape to decrease as the seconds go by. If the height of the shape is the same as the canvas, that is 450 pixels, and the seconds tag goes from 0 to 59, all I need to do is divide 450 by 59. That gives us 7.62711 pixels per second. As I want it to decrease the height size, I need to add this negative sign here. Now if I play the preview, you can see how the height changes. If I mask the time group with this rectangle, only the part inside the rectangle will be displayed. This way I can make the text disappear as the seconds go by. To improve the visibility of the text, I can tint all components inside this group to be black, like this. Now let's make the part that is being cut have a different color background. For that I can copy the rectangle here and place it outside the mask. As it has the same logic because I copied it, it will have the same height as the mask. But I want the part that is being cut to be displayed in a different color instead of disappearing. For that I can simply copy the time group to outside the mask. More specifically under the rectangle that represents the second indicator. Then I tint the group to white and the second indicator to the color I want. Okay, let's recap. The time group holds the logic for displaying the hour and the minute, changing their design according to the current hour. The second rectangles decrease in size as the seconds go by. This one is being used as a mask for this time group. This way only the parts inside the rectangle are displayed. This time group color is set to black, so the font is black. The other rectangle outside the group is a copy of the one used as a mask. It also changes its size as the seconds go by, in the same proportion. I tinted it to be the second color of the palette. This other time group is an exact copy of the one being masked, but this one is outside the mask. It is tinted as white, and it is placed under the second indicator and the mask. This way it is only displayed when the second indicators change the size. As it changes size at the same rate as the mask, it gives us this look of color changing from white to black. The ellipse is the background color. I set it to use the first color of the palette. The logic of the second can be used with other tags too. For example, you can use it with the second with milliseconds tag. This way the motion will be smoother. Even though you can use it, I don't recommend it. Masking by itself already consumes processing, and combined with this tag that updates every millisecond, it will be a great battery consumer. You can also use it with tags not related to time. For example, let's display the battery percentage instead of the seconds. For that we need to adapt our expression, as the battery level goes from 0 to 100 and not 0 to 59. But this is simple. If the height is 450, we divide it by 100. That gives us 4.5 pixels per 1% of battery. So, our expression will look like this. Remember to change the expression on both rectangles. See, now the rectangle size changes according to the battery level. I'll go back to the time expression, but again, you can use any, just adapt the math logic. Before ending this video, there are 3 things we need to consider. First, the AOD mode. There is a limit on how many pixels a watch face can display in AOD mode. In this case we are around 52%, the limit is 15%. So, let's create an AOD design. First, I'll group all we have here and name it as normal mode. Then I'll create a copy of the time group, and I'll place it outside. This one will follow the time logic, as it is a copy, but without masking or anything else. Now I'll replace all the fonts and images from this group I just copied. These new fonts and images follow the same design as the previous ones but only with borders. I'll also tint them using the palette to have a better look and follow the user's color choice. Just to be clear, I had to create these images using an image software editor just like I did with the other ones. Now with all images replaced, I can set the normal group to visible and the AOD group to be hidden in the normal mode, and the opposite in the always on mode. Now if I play the preview, you can see how the watch face will look when using the AOD in the normal mode. Note that the on-pixel ratio now is, on average, 4%. In other words, it is now inside the limit allowed. The second thing we need to consider is the memory usage. In the performance matter, I don't think it is a big issue, where OS only considers to be part of the watch face the components for which the condition from the conditional lines is met. For example, at 8 o'clock, where OS will only consider part of the watch face, the two images, the rectangle, and the ellipse. Again, because we are using conditional lines. However, the memory consumption can scale quickly as it needs to load lots of images. My advice in this matter is to recycle styles. Instead of creating one style for each hour of the day, create 3 or 4 styles and switch between them throughout the day. For example, you can use the same style from hour 9 to hour 12. This way you only need to add 2 extra images, the ones for the hour 12, one for AOD and one for normal mode, and then you recycle the font from the minutes. This way you don't need to add those 2 extra images plus 32 images for the new minute style. I modified the project to show you what I'm saying. See, the same pattern I am using for the hour 9 I duplicated to the hour 12. This way they use the same resources, like the bitmap font from the minutes. The third and last thing to consider is that the conditional lines cover a 24-hour range. So, if you are creating a 12-hour clock format, you need to repeat the same conditional line for the 24-hour format equivalent. For example, the 8 o'clock image needs to cover the 20 o'clock range too. And 8:01 until 9 o'clock needs to cover 20:01 until 2100 hours too, and the same logic for the other times. This is all for this video. In the description, you will find the link to my GitHub page. In it you will find some extra content, like expressions, app IDs, and a list with all projects I have created in video, including this one.